I'm here with Emily Thompson, and Emily, you have brought kind of a twofer for us. You said we can either make a very permanent banner using fabric or something that's more temporary out of paper, just depending on how long you're planning to keep it.
That's right. We're going to make a happy birthday banner and kind of two different ways. So we're going to use our electronic cutting machine to cut the text, and you can either cut it with heat transfer vinyl and put it on fabric, or you can cut it with just sticky vinyl and put it on paper. Both look great. It just kind of depends on how long you want to keep it around.
So what cycle of life you're in.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it's like happy 8th birthday, then that's probably temporary. If it's like I love you, that's permanent.
Yes. So I love this roll feeder because you can cut up to 6 feet long designs, and so it just makes it, I want to cut big letters, and so I don't want to have to keep changing and feeding in new vinyl. So I just want to cut it once, be done, and then peel off my letters and put it on my project.
Lazy crafting, I'm all about it.
That's right. So we're going to go ahead and push start and let this cut while we show you a couple other things.
Cool. So that's going to get going, and I know you've already done your test cuts to make sure that the blade was set, everything's good to go. So what do we do next?
Right, so we have our paper bunting here, and I'm going to cut a couple more fabric buntings.
And of course, you're cutting this with scissors, but you could use your electronic cutter if you wanted.
That's right.
It's just whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you. And I just drew up this really easy bunting template. You could, do whatever shape you wanted, circles, squares. The possibilities are really
circles,
endless.
Princess shapes. I've even seen people do banners that have like silhouettes of people's heads. I mean, crazy stuff, depending how involved you want to get.
That's right. So I just was keeping it pretty simple and wanting to just make this basic shape, and I kind of like the blue and yellow together, so I have a few things. So
now, I want to say this is not a regular fabric, and I can tell that because it's not raveling at the edges. So did you treat the fabric in some way?
This is actually wax canvas, and I thought it'd be perfect for this project for a couple of reasons. One, you can see how it's just kind of stiff and it hangs really nicely.
You cut more than one at a time.
I did cut too, yes.
Okay.
I was getting more done at one time. So I like how it's stiff. I also like, because it is wax, like you said, I don't have to finish the edges. So even though it's fabric, it can just lay like this. It can save from year to year, and the edges are not going to get all weird.
Super
cool.
So
it's, that's a really easy thing to do. And then I'm going to show you how to iron on. So this is a letter that I pre-cut ahead of time. And I am just placing this.
Now that's
like
cut
the other ones.
Out of heat transfer vinyl, which is a kind of vinyl. So all vinyl is 3 layers, right? It's usually some kind of color, some kind of adhesive, and this one has a transfer sheet on it.
Yes. So this is heat transfer vinyl, so we need to apply heat to transfer it to the wax.
And I see that you're using like a piece of paper as basically, I assume, some kind of protection.
Right. So I've made this mistake before, ironing wax with my home iron. The next day, my husband goes to iron a dress shirt.
Oh no!
And he got wax on it. So when I was creating this project, I was very careful to use a barrier between, because this is wax canvas and it will kind of leave a waxy mess. This is parchment paper. At home, I actually just used a little tea towel that I didn't care if it got wax in it. So you can use that as long as you don't really care that wax may be getting in. So you want to make sure that it's fully applied, and I can tell it's not quite hot enough. So I just need to go back and leave this.
So while you're ironing that again, the cutter's done.
Yes, let's take a look.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab the cutter off the bottom here and trim it. So let me get the trimmer placed on here and then just slide that across to get my clean cut. Save the rest of that roll of vinyl for later. And then I'm gonna eject this for you and we'll grab it.
Let's take a look at one of our letters.
Cool.
See if we can stick it on the paper.
I was gonna say, let's weed away. So people who aren't familiar with weeding, when you use craft vinyl, which is what this is, that has an adhesive back, you take away all the stuff that you don't want. So this should reveal, crafting with a friend is the best. Extra hands.
Extra hands.
That's awesome. And look, oh my gosh, this just like keeps going and going.
So we obviously have a few negatives to pull away, but you can see how cool it really looks. So why don't you go ahead and weed the B, and then we'll be able to stick that right on our paper.
Perfect. There it is. Now, you can obviously use transfer paper to do it, but you don't need to with these letters because they're so blocky, because this actually becomes a big sticker. If you were going to move the whole birthday over,
I would definitely use transfer tape for that.
So I don't want to put this in the wrong place.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be super specific, but I basically am just trying to center it and then smooth it.
Super cool.
Like
And when
a big
it's-
sticker.
That's super cool. And when it's a craft vinyl like this, you could even use it on like a window or something if you did it
Definitely.
in reverse, because
Yep.
it's gonna come off.
Yep, it's gonna come off and it's not permanent, so you're not stuck with anything that you don't want. So we finished this one, and now we just have to remove the clear
Transfer sheet there.
cover.
Oh, it looks so good.
And so this one. So I thought we would create
Mm-hmm.
the happy by hot gluing the letters onto this ribbon.
Okay. And again, I assume you're using an aggressive glue like hot glue because waxed canvas is going to require an aggressive adhesive.
Yeah, I don't think unless you use super glue or something pretty strong that it would really work. So we might see a little bit through, but I
Okay.
think that will dry.
You can
as
also
the glue dries.
stitch it, I will say.
Yes, you
Because
could-
especially with a nice Grosgain ribbon like this that's so thick, you would have an easy time going through your sewing machine.
And you could easily just run a basic stitch through there. It would not
or
take
you know,
very long.
a super cheat is just put some rickrack or some decorative
Yes.
lace or something over the
Another-
front, and then you'd never see anything underneath.
Yep. Or even another layer of ribbon if you wanted to sandwich it.
Or you could do bias tape, even
Yeah.
make your own bias
Yeah.
tape.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities for how you're hanging this or what you're decorating it on.
You know
I'm
what
just
I
keeping
like
it
too
pretty
is
simple.
that like you used one blue here and one blue here, but you didn't feel it necessary to like perfectly match the blues.
When I mean, I'm not the perfect party planner, go all out. So if I'm even getting this done for my kids, this is probably pretty impressive. So let's cut this off and then we can hold it up and take a look at our birthday
Take
sign.
a look at our cool birthday banner. Now, something like this, because it's made out of fabric, right? I mean, and especially that waxed canvas, it's gonna last a super long time, right? I mean, you could bring this
yeah.
out for every birthday.
Yep, when I have buntings like this, I usually just fold them like this to store, and then you can unfold it and yeah, rehang.
Could
So
you use this outside? Like, is this semi-weatherproof because it's waxed?
I do think it is water resistant. It's not going to last
Like,
if you
don't
left
put it out in a hurricane.
No, I wouldn't leave it out permanently.
Right.
But if it got a little wet, it's not going to ruin the fabric. So
That's
yeah, there's lots of
awesome.
possibilities to
That's
use it
super
for.
cool. And obviously, if you used anything patterned as opposed to like plain, it would be a little harder to read. I
Yes.
know that it's
Yes.
tempting. I'm tempted all the time
Yes.
to use pattern
Yes.
instead. And of course, you could use somebody's name and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, can you use the other side of this, or because we've weeded it away, it's just garbage and you can't, like the negative?
Of the vinyl.
Yeah.
You could use some of the pieces. Sometimes I'll try to save like any extras that there are, but usually it's not worth saving just the tiny scraps. So
Very cool.
But yeah, you could make this happy birthday bunting and then create a set of numbers as well. And so for each year, if you had kids, you could just put the happy
Oh.
birthday and then have a number that you could hang next to it and still would be a reusable idea.
That's so great because you could make it right at the beginning of
Yep.
when they're born. This would be a wonderful gift actually
would
to
be a
give new
great gift,
parents so
yes.
that every year they could just try it out. Happy
Yep.
first, happy second,
Yep.
happy third. I love
And the
that
pictures
idea,
would be great,
Emily.
right? Having the same thing behind each year.
Oh my gosh, the consistency of
Yes.
it, that's so awesome. Emily, this is such a great project for all sorts of stages of life. Thank you.
You're welcome.